what you didn't mention during that busy day of, we're trying to preview these superstars and we can't really play in the kickoff.
We got talent.
Meanwhile, Discord was exploding with OMG, do the tours right now.
ASAP.
Everyone, stop what you're doing before they figure this out, right? That's always the language. Before they take it back, before they realize what's happening, do all the tours, easy mode, hell mode, right now, do the tours, do the tour. I mean, it was like every notification just went berserk in that moment. Even so much so that you were in a pretty important meeting and I called you and it went to voicemail and I knew that meant, hey, you're in a meeting. And then I called you again, even though I knew you were in the meeting. And so then I texted you, and we need to come up with a code word when it's like Grant Camping level or higher, or like October prize wall, Thanksgiving. Like we need a code word for like emergency, stop what you're doing and use the bathroom in the meeting and open the game
leading the meeting. But so can I just real quick, I one person in my life I've had a code word with like that. So in Columbus, when I lived in Columbus, Ohio,
was it a safe word? Is that what you're not going there, right? Okay.
We'll get
oh my God almighty. I'm telling you the opposite. I'm telling you a danger word of like emergency. Run into the fire is what I'm saying.
Run into the fire. No, so in Columbus, there's this little airport. It's called Rickenbacker. And I couldn't remember the name of Rickenbacker Airport. And I'm talking with my boss at the time, and I'm like, he's like, I'm flying out. And I'm like, are you flying out from the main airport or Ticklebaker? And he goes, what'd you just say? I said, Ticklebaker. He goes, do you mean Rickenbacker? I was like, oh yeah, Rickenbacker. That's it. So from that point forward, anytime, you know how Davey D has the pause. Our pause was Ticklebaker. You know, I'd do something like he didn't like, he'd be like,
what is you talking about right now? I watched Davey D's talent up video, and it was just him talking to himself the whole time. I was cracking up. It was so funny.
Nice.
So funny. Yeah.
Nice. Well, either way,
so Ticklebaker is our new word then. Anytime something is now berserk
Ticklebaker.
in the game.
Ticklebaker.
You're like, great googly moogie. I've got to go to the restroom right now.
I must depart.
If Ticklebaker pops up on your Apple Watch, grab your stomach and run.
Oh, I don't feel so good.
Emergency.
Lady problems. Yeah, that's right.
Give me my phone. Emergency.
Throwing people out of the way. Get out of my way.
So what happened though? What did happen? I mean, midday kickoff, Discord erupted, and what? And what was happening? The boxes contained, what did they contain? In case someone just woke up from a coma and they're like, what did I miss?
This, and they're like,
what did I miss while I was in my coma?
Yeah, if you
during the kickoff day.
Oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, so there was supposed to be the chests. There's two different chests that were existing at the same time. And the one that was supposed to go in there was ones that have the, you know, what we've kind of been seeing for the last few months, the little cards, the gizmos, the different
ornaments, the tchotchkes, or the what is it called, haymaker loot, or is that just the winter wonder?
I think that was the winter haymaker. I don't know. I don't know what they are right now, but
so
same thing.
Whatever
Balloons
these
and
collectible turkey timers and all that stuff from Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's supposed to have those in there, but instead it was like feud chest, so you could basically get 20 to 100 and whatever shards of a top tier superstar, or posters of top tier superstars,
or just the poster.
And you are meant if you look at the MLC milestones, you're meant to get a few of those these months, but that's it, right? Like the top players will get, let's say 10 or less, just to make up a number, whereas I think most of us opened 40 of them, right? You know, or like 60 of them. I don't even know, because I was opening them as I got them. And inside of them, you had, you know, Trick Live. Let's just call it the ones that
Oblivion.
It seems like most of the community got. Oblivion, right? Powerhouse Anvil, Powerhouse Steiner, Cora Jade. Farouk, or I'm sorry, no, Bradshaw.
Yeah, I got Bradshaw.
You got Bradshaw.
It's off my trickster, my striker woes that I've been running into.
Oh yeah, except for I don't have tokens. Same. Yeah, he's going to be my top striker now.
I got
Plus
Trickster Theory, Austin
Trickster
Theory,
Theory. Yep,
A-Town
he was a big one.
down.
And if you got bleed coaches, he can do Shellers from the Black Pearl a few months ago when he first got Apollo. I think he was showing him doing 10 million a turn or so on bleed. Something like that.
I don't have
Something like that.
Apollo,
You have Apollo and
but
Woods.
I got Woods. I got Woods, so I can go
Oh,
half
okay.
that, maybe. I can go half that. And I've got
Wait, say I got
Kyrie
Woods,
Sane.
Ticklebaker.
I've got Ticklebaker. Yeah. Who else did I get in that loot? Did you get anybody else? No, you got Tech Steiner, right?
I did, but I shard recruited him. So I was close on shards, and it gave me the shards I needed.
Several people
got Street Goldberg.
Shard recruit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. One person posted in Discord that their son got LA Knight. They didn't get much good, but their son got LA Knight.
Yeah.
Like, oops, that's now my alternate account. Whoopsies. Yeah. So
I don't know who. So that was probably one of the single best days of the game. There have been about 5 days in the history of this game.
Grand Camping 3, y'all.
Where you would say, like, this is a Ticklebaker day. This is one of the best days ever. And
we have our t-shirt now.
It's not going to be undone, right? The whole day, the community was on pins and needles. Do they know? Are they taking it back? Was this intended? They knew. Here's the question I was asking. This was intended, right? I mean, this is the anniversary month. So of course they're being super generous. Right. Why don't we just begin to thank them instead of worrying about, punitive retribution? Why don't you just say thank? Why don't you just post, on
thanks
Twitter and tag somebody and say, huge thanks for your generosity, Lord Scopely. I love this. This is great. This is a great payday for the whole community.
Well, I think that the in-game message made it clear that this was not intended. It was intended to be the tchotchkes box.
Why did you just thank them like it was intended, right? And that's where
I like your plan.
Yeah,
reality's like different, but
reverse psychology almost. Right? It's when I get you to do something that you don't want to do. Like Michael Scott, the way he explains it,
right? Yeah. Reverse psychology. No, I agree. And the characters, some of them are the top tier. Like if you saw I haven't seen Goldie's with her alternate account, but so I don't know what Dorothy Daly is going to do, but like I saw Merrick's video, and now his free-to-play account has 5 top tier characters that just showed up now.
Well, and I'll say this: they're not top tier anymore. At least my opinion is that's why they let us keep them, because they're no longer S+, right? If it was Bronson,
they're not rare.
Reed,
they're still
if it was Bronson Reed, if it was Ministry of Darkness Undertaker, if it was Seth freaking Rollins, if it was Solo Sikoa, I think there might have been a pullback, right?
Yeah.
But like,
well,
if that's S plus tier, like elite, right? Feud gods, like now the people that are spending to chase these premium supers, I don't think anyone in that loot was like, yeah, I'm going to drop hundreds of dollars right now to chase that superstar. I don't think anyone in that loot was elite as Hall of Fame Neidhart or Hall of Fame Brutus.
That's because Hall of Fame Neidhart's my favorite in the game, right?
But was anyone in that loot of that caliber and that newness that was released in the 6-star silver meta that is
they were all 6-star silver meta?
I think 6-star bronze is when many or most of them came out.
No, AP, most of these came out this year. In fact, I can guarantee it because like Oblivion, for example, she's one of the older ones in there. Right. She came out when they reworked all the moves. That was way after the 6 silver meta. Okay. Cora Jade was just like 3 months ago.
Point
APA
taken.
was a few months ago. But
okay. No, you're right. Attitude month, comma. Okay. I got my timeline.
No, you're okay. But it is, I
think the take is relevant, at least.
Sure.
If everyone in the community would have got Bronson Reed instead of Neidhart, I think there would have been a rollback.
Yeah.
If everyone in the community would have got Streaker Goldberg instead of Bradshaw, I think there would have been a rollback. If everyone in the community would have gotten, who was that other one that was, LA Knight instead of Theory, I think there would have been a rollback, because these are still the premium elite in game that would have likely cost them a lot of money and future profit if everyone would have gotten Ministry of Darkness, Taker, or Nation Rock, right?
That would be a very different reality.
Yes.
I see that.
So all I'm saying is, like, I thought it was intended. I thought or at least on some level, I'm hopeful we're going to be able to keep these, because there's still so much better out there. It was my theory.
Was your thinking. And you're right. And so let's talk about the way they handled it. Because, in fact, I said on my Talent Up video, I did not talent, and still haven't, because all the resources that went out to Talent Up, but I didn't take any of them up, because
I didn't either.
In my mind, they're potentially going to take them back, because there's precedent for both, right? So the TP take back is the biggest, like, okay, they took all of that.
Yeah, that's what's fresh in our minds.
Ranted to the point of, like, red-faced anger.
Keep your dirty hands off my inventory.
Yeah, I remember.
Austin, it was me. Now, I better not quote that guy ever again. For the record, that's a different code word. Like, warning.
So they've taken that back. There is precedent for that. There was very high reality that they could have, because I mean, everybody getting 5-6 top tier characters. That's insane. But there's also been times where they've kind of taken the L and just said, hey, we didn't mean for this to happen, but congratulations, you get to keep them. And, like, lots of people think that the zombie prize ball was a mistake. Things like that.
Initially thought that it was. I still think that it was. Yeah,
I think it was. Yeah. But they just said, go ahead and keep them. This is our gift to you. Happy 7th anniversary. And then they released more content the same day. That's awesome. Like, I mean, it's, this is a good month. This is a good start.
Let me acknowledge a few realities of what listeners or viewers out there might be thinking. Number one, there is a reality there's a contingency in the community that says, I paid a premium to chase those superstars. And that's not fair. That's not fair that everyone now has what I worked really hard towards, grinded towards, paid for, bought, got lucky in pulls with, or earned as a reward or a milestone, or so like, we absolutely acknowledge that reality and that tension that's there, to feel like, hey, that's not fair. I earned this, or I bought this. I was entitled to this because of what I did, and others should not get that. Right. And so we absolutely acknowledge it. We don't want to upset anybody that's on that side of the fence. And then there's another reality at work where people are going, what do you mean these aren't premium superstars? Like, this is better than anything on my roster. This revolutionizes what I do, how I play this game. The game has changed now, because I was not even in a category of the meta that now I am in, and now I can be competitive to a level I've never been in. If I work these up, I might be able to get in a competitive faction, where maybe I'm just in a very casual faction, or I might be able to win and qualify for CSS rewards, where previously I never had the contest superstar, right? So we acknowledge both realities, that there's one camp potentially that's going to feel jaded and cheated. There's another camp that's going to be extremely grateful and overwhelmed by this act. And yet there's also kind of the mushy middle, where people are like, this is really awesome. I'm glad I got to keep them. There's better out there, but I don't necessarily have them.
Right.
And so every type of person we feel
Yeah.
like is represented in our content and what we do. And so we
Right.
don't want anybody frustrated with us, because
Yeah.
I was elated that I got
Yes.
them, and I was elated
Yes.
that I got to keep them. And many
Yes.
of these superstars are now my best.
Yeah. 6 new characters on my roster, which I have a 7+ million roster. So 6 new, like that's a
7
month and a
million.
half or 2 worth of like some events. But so let's talk about 2 things real quick. So
Yeah.
one is, okay, so I want to address the first person because I understand the frustration of like, I don't whale very much. I do a couple mega polls a month or whatever at this point, investing in the content. But like
Well,
before go
you
ahead.
don't, and I would say that, and I love you and I know you and I've known you for years. And like, while you may not consider yourself a whale, I think people at my roster level and lower
Yeah.
would consider you
Would
that.
consider,
So
yeah, I think that's
there's
fair.
always a bigger fish in the ocean,
Right.
right?
Well,
But
and I
I
have a 10
think
million roster, but I do
yeah,
have
I think
7.
to
Yeah.
a good majority of our listeners, that you do represent the person that spent consistently in the game and
Right.
built their roster up to that
Yeah.
more competitive level, where I think I
Right.
represent, like if
Yeah.
if say I don't see myself as a whale, people are like, oh, I know, because you're under
Right.
5 million still, right?
Right.
Anyway,
Right. You're trying
sorry
to
to
catch
interrupt.
up, but no, you're
I
good. You're good. So, I would say to the people who are on that level, like to me, the comparison would be Streak Goldberg. I mean, I've gotten super lucky, like 3, maybe 4 times in the 4.5 years I've been playing this game. So once a year, right? And it's been the Black Friday characters. It's been Streak Goldberg and Ghostbuster Roman. Those are the 4 that I'm like, oh, I have, and
was
everybody
that a
else
and was that a
goes
paid
crazy.
pull, or was that an
Oh yeah, they were
earned
paid polls,
milestone?
but
Okay,
both Goldberg and Roman, because those were almost the same time frame. They
right.
were they were Goldberg was a single poll and Roman was a $20 poll. So I didn't wail
That's
to
a
get them.
hit.
I just got super lucky.
Yeah, that's a
But
hit.
like it makes me feel super good every time I hear, like Merrick's has said a number of times, like if I had a partridge, which was these things that you could choose any superstar in the game if you got one. If I had a partridge, I would choose Streak Goldberg 100%. Like I've heard him
Oh
say
wow.
that number of times because of his trainer ability, coach ability, not necessarily because
And what
he's
is it?
the
Remind
best
us, for
fighter.
those of us that.
Creates one more juggernaut gem. So until
Oh
Seth
yeah,
freaking Rollins,
yeah.
which that's a coach or trainer, not a coach, Goldberg was the only one that did more juggernaut gems. So the number of characters that impacts. But okay, so let's just say I bought, now I only paid a single pull to get him. It was a luck, blah, blah, blah. But now let's say the next day or a month or even 6 months, year from then, they give everybody Streak Goldberg. Well, suddenly the specialness that I had for it kind of wears down. I mean, for some of our larger spenders, it's just that feeling like, not I'm better than you, at least I hope not, right? But like, look at, I got this, and others don't have it. Like it's that feeling
Yeah,
of I've gotten something,
right.
right? And so you take that away. But here's my analogy, right? Like let's say you've been playing the lottery for 10 years or whatever. Every day you go buy a pull ticket and you never win. But then you find out that the person who did win the lottery was a homeless dude who got handed a lottery ticket or maybe found it or something like that, right? And so now this homeless person is a multimillionaire. Yeah, you're jealous, you're upset a little bit, but ultimately I hope like if you heard that person's story, if you understood where that person was in their life, they didn't go take that and just waste it all on alcohol. Like they built up a house for their family because, maybe I mean I've worked with the homeless community for years, and some of them do have stories where you're like, yeah, you're getting what you have earned in your life, but a lot of them, like, I mean, really, somebody once said, I'm 2 bad decisions from being, or 2 bad events, not even my decisions, like events, like, natural disaster, whatever. I'm 2 events from being exactly where they are. Hopefully your heart celebrates. Hopefully you go, my goodness, look at this person who was down and out, didn't have luck, and then all of a sudden, man, like fortune shined on them. They're doing good things with it. Great. Hopefully that's the heart that our spending community has towards something like this, and not how dare they give what I had. Because like that
Well,
possessive, like have a heart of generosity towards it. This is
yeah.
a one-off event, theoretically, and it just blessed a lot of people who are far from homeless, you know, because we're spending on this game. But we are also, you know, there's people who, compared to the mansion that you've built with your dollars, are living in boxes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and just let me add one thing to that in consideration is that oftentimes I think it's not necessarily about feeling special or feeling like you have something rare and unique. I think sometimes it's about having a competitive edge, right?
Yeah.
The saying like, I've got this competitive edge that I earned, worked for, or paid for, and therefore I want to see the results that I'm seeing in the game, where
Yeah.
others that I have the edge over, I don't want equal footing with them, right? I don't want
Yeah.
them to have, I don't want to lose my edge, right?
Right.
I don't want to lose. And so I think, yes, everything you said, right on. And I would just say, add the addendum of, this is a competitive game. This is
Right.
like a game where people are working for leaderboards and people are working
Yeah.
for like, they're climbing a ladder, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And they don't want their opponent to be given the same ladder that they've
Right.
climbed. They don't want to ascend to that same
Right.
height. And
Right.
I mean that's real
Yeah.
and true and part of it as well.
Yeah, I agree, but I think this is a good lesson for life because this maybe, you know, we just say, oh, it was a Scopely screw up, but it really, this is the way life happens. You know, we've all seen people who get promoted and we're like, oh, they don't,
Yeah,
you know, they don't deserve that as much as me, but they are,
right.
you know, I'm not talking about the scumbags. I'm not talking about the ones who are like,
Some guy
ugh,
on the
that
job
person.
that he maybe he has
But
less seniority, right? Less
yeah,
tenure,
but he
you
works
know.
hard. He maybe
Yeah.
hasn't been there as long as you, but he gets promoted over you. We have to get to a place in our hearts where we celebrate the victory of others without feeling like it hinders us.
Yeah.
Because
Good.
the reality is the universe is designed for generosity, right? There is so much out there, and there's
Hmm.
enough left over for you. There's more than enough to have a lot of people come to the banquet. You know, we limit ourselves, you know, we limit ourselves.